Hey y'all!
What's poppin'?
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for all the love on my previous video about my teeth. It means so much to me that so many of you guys just think that they look so natural and love them and it's not too much of a change. That was my biggest fear, so thank you guys so much for that. But as you can tell by the title today, we are going to be testing a full face of Fenty skin. The eye makeup and lip products, like, I don't include them in this video, although the lip is Fenty. This is all about the skin in this video, so I will be posting the details of this makeup up on my Instagram. If you're not following me there, please do. But yes, this is just going to be a skin focused video doing primer, foundation, the new concealers, the new setting powders, the match sticks, highlighters, blusher, all that kind of stuff, all Fenty. That's what we're going to be testing today. I wanted to sort of mix it up. I know loads of people have just been testing the setting powder and concealer, so I did want to include that, but then also just see what it looks like in combination with all of her other already existing Fenty skin products, and just seeing if a full face of Fenty is really worth the hype. Before we get started, it is post notification bell shout out time, and this week it goes to Jamelia White, who said, oh yes girl, slaying with the new teeth. So happy to see you. Happy Rachel, loving the new teeth. And you, notification squad, loved you from the beginning and can't wait to see you grow and what 2019 holds for you. Hopefully there will be some meetups. Kiss kiss. Oh my god, hopefully, I'm sure there will be. I am going to the big beauty day out in London in April, so if you're there, let me know. But yes, I'm so excited to show you this full skin Fenty Beauty routine, showing you my thoughts about it all. The tools and everything is listed in the description down below. But before we get started, if you have come here as a non-subscriber, please hit that subscribe button. We are like 2K away from 600,000. It would mean the world to me if you hit subscribe if you haven't already, so make sure to do that now. But yes, if you want to see what I've used on my skin and my thoughts and just how it applies, all of that good stuff, then please keep watching. Okay, so I'm just starting with a completely kind of clear face. I have done my eye makeup and brows because I didn't have any, I don't actually own any like of the Fenty eyeshadow palettes. It's literally all skin that I own, and I feel like her skin stuff is just what's put her on the map with all the like shades and all of that good stuff. So that's what I really want to test today. I will be posting up the details of this eye makeup on my Instagram if you want to check that out. So first things first is obviously primer. I got myself the travel size version of the primer, which I think is actually new. I don't think they did a travel size version of this primer until recently. So this is called the Pro Filter Instant Retouch Primer, and it says soft matte. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this how I would normally apply a primer. You guys know I love to use a brush, so I'm just gonna pop a couple of pumps on my skin. Okay, when it's described as soft matte, I thought it was going to be like one of those, you know, like velvety primers, but this feels a lot more like cream. So I'm just gonna go ahead and buff this into the skin. Oh my god, already pleasantly surprised by this, because I thought this actually might be one of the products that I don't like, because I don't like those primers that are that velvet finish, that are like soft and matte touching, if that makes sense. This definitely is a lot more hydrating and more cream-like than I thought. So I'm super happy about that. So let me just buff that in like so. Ooh, it's left me with like a little bit of like a tack on the skin, which, as you guys know, is like one of my favorite qualities of a primer, because then I really believe that like anything that goes on the top is really going to stick to it, but it also has a soft matte finish to it. Okay, I'm like liking the feel of that so far. Now for foundation, I have actually used the Fenty foundation before, but obviously not in combination with the primer and the powder and the concealer. I've not used it all together yet. So normally my shade is 290, but as you can see, I'm like kind of freshly fake tan and have got tan on my face. So I'm gonna mix a little bit of the shade 310 together. But what is new that I'm gonna be using is her new beauty sponge. When I saw people talk about how they feel about the Fenty Beauty foundation in the past, a lot of people said that they felt like it does just sit on their skin and it feels quite heavy and dry. So I've made sure to dampen up this sponge, and hopefully that's going to make a bit of a difference in the way that this feels on my skin. And with that primer underneath, hopefully these will work really well together. So like I said, I have dampened the sponge and I've just done a couple of pumps on each side. I'm going to use the more like rounded side to the sponge because I feel like that kind of covers the most surface area. But this foundation is, as you guys know, or if you don't know because you've never used it before, very full coverage. It is their Pro Filter Soft Matte Longwear Foundation. I always like forget how good this foundation is. Like I'm one of the people that I've like used this before and I'm already a fan. It looks so good in pictures, and to me, if you use the right tools, for example a damp sponge like this, I feel like it does kind of shear it out slightly and applies it like flawlessly. Feels super comfortable on the skin when you do it this way. I feel like if you did just apply this with a regular foundation brush, which Fenty do sell, and I think Rihanna did before the sponges came out, use the brush to apply that foundation. To me, I just feel like that's the way that it's gonna feel quite heavy on your skin and really just like feel super full coverage, whereas using a sponge, like I said, really shears, well not like completely shears it out, it's still, you know, got amazing coverage, but just doesn't feel so heavy. And like I said in the beginning, there are 50 shades, but what I will say is on the Harvey Nichols website, the color of the shade, I feel like it doesn't really translate as to what it really is. So I definitely recommend googling swatches of the foundation if you haven't tried it yet and seeing it on people's arms and skin tones, that kind of thing. Or if you live in America and you live near a Sephora, or you live in London and you live near a Harvey Nichols, go in and have a swatch, because yes, there are so many shades, but online sometimes the colors, like I feel like the shade 290 looks actually a lot darker than it actually is, which is why I'm so glad I got the shade 310. But it's really weird. I like the undertone of 290. It's a little bit of that like greenier yellow undertone, and 310 is a little bit more like darker, but it's got a bit more of like a warmer orange undertone. So I love to mix them together, and you can see it's made a really good match for when I'm freshly fake tanned. This sponge, by the way, so soft, and when I was running it under the tap, it got really like big and squishy straight away. I'm interested to see what like this flat surface is for, maybe just like making sure it's all, you know, sheared out, or maybe for concealer, but we do have something to apply the concealer with. But I'm just gonna like zoom you in and show you what the foundation and primer looks like on the skin. So as you can see, it's literally covered everything. I think I did 1 pump of the 290 and like 1.5 pumps of the 310 on each side. Using the sponge, obviously, like I said, it picks up a lot of the product. So if you used a brush, I'm sure the amount that I put on is actually probably like a little bit too much, but I knew I was going to be using a sponge, and kind of more is better when it comes to a sponge. But I love the way that this foundation looks and feels on my skin. It doesn't feel too heavy or like too drying or anything like that. I always get a little bit worried when anything says matte in it, because that can feel really dry on the skin, and as someone that has slightly more on the drier skin, that's always a major worry, that it like feels uncomfortable. But this feels really, really nice. So let's move on to the concealer. Again, I do have 2 shades. I do have the shade 260 and 185. I do have the shade at 290 as well, but 260 is a little bit more of that like peachier undertone, which is really great for under the eyes. If you have slightly darker under eyes, the peach tones, and that will really help to brighten and conceal that. But I also have it in the shade 185 to like really, really brighten up under the eyes. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply 260 first. Bring it down a little bit. You can see it's got a slightly, I mean, it looks kind of yellow in my viewfinder, but it is definitely more of the peachier concealer. So she does actually have mini versions of the, you know, of the big sponge that she has, which I feel like is perfect for underneath the eyes. But sorry, my doorbell went. But as I was saying, she does actually have a concealer brush to be able to buff this out, but I do prefer to use a sponge because I'm aware that this concealer is quite full coverage, so I feel like a brush is going to really help to just not let it feel too heavy under the eyes. But if you prefer something a little bit more full coverage and like to buff it out, then you can use a brush to do so. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the little sponge to blend this out. Now, like I said, it is of a fuller coverage, but they are kind of like advertising this as the cure to like nights out and when you're feeling run down and tired, because it really does conceal like everything. I wouldn't say it's as full coverage as Tarte Shape Tape or anything like that, but it is similar. I just don't feel like it's as thick as that, which is kind of good. So if you like the coverage that Tarte Shape Tape gives you, but it feels a little bit like heavy underneath the skin, then this might be a good alternative to try, because I feel like it gives a similar coverage result, but it's just not as like thick on the skin. And this little sponge makes it so easy to like get right up underneath the eye and be sort of really precise with your blending. So that's the color 260 on top of foundation shade 290 and 310 mixed together. So you can see it does a little bit of brightening, but it's like a really nice, it's not too bright. I do want to add a little bit of that 185 color just under the eye slightly. I've been kind of digging a brighter under eye, and you know what, I'm going to use the brush to blend this out so I can show you, you know, the effects of that. Just buffing that out. So that's now with the 185 shade on top, like so. I will say this brush is good for getting like right up under your lash line, because sometimes a sponge doesn't quite, you know, get all the way up there. Just gonna go back in with my foundation sponge and make sure that's all blended out. But you can see the difference that makes using that concealer. Like I said, super full coverage, but it doesn't feel too heavy, and like I don't feel uncomfortable. I feel like maybe on maturer skins less will be more with that product, and I would probably use the brush to blend it out. I would do little dots and use the brush to blend it out on slightly more mature skins. But if you have a little sort of like less of the fine lines or anything like that, I feel like you can be quite generous with it and use a sponge to blend it out. Or if you really like don't care if it feels like any sort of like uncomfortable and you like that heavy duty feel, go ham with it. Just buff it out slightly with a brush and you will be a full coverage queen, girl. So before we powder, you guys know I like to cream contour, and she's had these out for a while. These are the Fenty Beauty matchsticks. This is the matte matchstick in Truffle. So I'm gonna go ahead and use these just where I normally would to sort of like cream contour. I feel like this one is a little bit too dark to use as my nose contour, so I'll just like do that separately. I'm just gonna apply these in like the places that I would normally contour with, like so. And I know that this looks a little bit dark, but I do find with these matchsticks they are a little bit more of like a sheerer coverage. And I know that they also do the matchsticks, like obviously this would be like a foundation shade for someone of a darker skin tone. They do medium shades as well as light ones, so you could actually use this as a foundation, which I did actually try doing before. Like I said, if you prefer the slightly more of the sheerer matte coverage. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend this out. I'm just using a sort of like regular stippling brush to be able to do this. And now what I will say is with these, and why I have not really used the matchsticks as a foundation, is because I actually find them a little bit, they're almost like too matte, if that makes sense, that they almost feel like they go from cream to like a powdery finish. Like I am kind of having to work a little bit harder to blend that out and it not leave like lines there. It doesn't just sort of blend effortlessly, and I just think that's because all of her products are like matte, like they're described as a soft matte finish. These are the matte matchsticks, and if they're not matte then they're either like shimmer, so there's no like in between of it being a dewy finish or like a satin finish, which hopefully will be something that she comes out with, like obviously a different genre of foundation in the 50 shades, but like for more drier complexions, like a more satin or dewy finish foundation of the same formula and coverage would be unreal. So yeah, like I said, I'm just blending this all in. But I mean, it has obviously like blended out. I feel happy with the way that that looks, and I love, like I said, the way that I have like a brighter under eye with the warmth around the edge. Like I said, these, you just have to work a little bit harder with them, but they're still a great product. If you have naturally oilier skin, I feel like these will blend a lot better on your skin. For me, as someone that has sort of more dry to normal skin and I'm using a ton of matte products right now, I am finding I'm having to work a little bit harder. But now I'm thinking about it, I'm sure if I just like once I applied this and sprayed a bit of Fix Plus on my face and then went to blend, it would be a lot easier for myself. So just think about your skin type when it comes to these products and what works best for you, because sometimes a matte foundation is great, but when it comes to cream contouring, you need something a little bit more fluid because you have more dry skin. I know that's kind of the boat that I would be in. So just think about that. You don't need everything in this video that I'm saying. You've got to figure out what works best for you. But if you love a matte look with everything that you do, then this is a great cream contour option, and I know she does loads of the sort of like darker shades for that. Okay, so moving on, I'm now going to be taking the new Pro Filter Instant Retouch Setting Powder. This is in the shade Banana. Now I can honest to God say I have not tried this yet and I am so excited. I know everyone has been posting up there. Oh crap, how do I get into this? Oh, there. Everyone's been, look, you can see, peel that off, been posting up their reviews on this, and I haven't actually watched any reviews on this yet because I wanted to sort of like try it out for myself with a first impression for myself. Now I'm going to be using the setting brush. This is the 170 setting brush. By the way, I have left the link to the tools and everything that I've been using in the description bar down below. So I feel like I'm just going to go ahead and do it how I normally would. I liked this banana shade because it's going to be great for brightening. Oh my god, okay, I can't really like bake with this brush, so I'm just gonna actually have to like press and set. This brush, by the way, look how it's like just, oh my god, you can tell how soft that is just from me pressing it. Hey, I can like see that I'm wearing powder. I'm gonna go ahead and just put this all over my face and then zoom you in to show you, because it might just be that after a while it looks a little bit better than it does right now. So I'm going to go ahead and place this in all the places that I usually would, and then I'll zoom you in to show you the finished sort of like set skin. But I'm like not too bothered about baking at this moment because I've used so many like full coverage matte products that I don't feel like it's going to move anywhere. But like I said, if you have more oilier skin, I definitely use a little bit more of a precise brush when setting everything in place. I'm just going to go ahead and dust it all away right now. I will say, from a distance, my skin looks amazing. I don't know if you guys would agree right now. You guys are kind of like far away from me, but if I look closely, it's kind of set a little bit funny around my nose. Let me zoom you in and show you what I'm talking about. Can you like see on my nose right now? I mean, it did look a little bit funny here as well at first, but I feel like when I was like dusting around and stuff, I've kind of like blended it at the same time, and like now it looks okay. But on my nose, it's kind of just like moved a bit of the product. I wonder if I just like go in with my sponge. Okay, now that looks better. So that looks, I solved that problem. But yeah, just at first it was just setting a little bit funny on the skin, but I feel like once you work it a little bit more, it looks great. And I mean, like, I feel like everything's all set in place. I feel like if I had oilier skin, this would be like these would be really great products to test, because they're all claimed to be super matte and just like, they're meant to stay put and make you look really sort of like mattified, and it's not going to be going anywhere. So I kind of know already that these products aren't going to move on my skin because my skin's naturally dry, but I feel like it didn't really like, it hasn't like clung to any sort of like dry patches. I feel like I can touch my face, it's not going to transfer or anything like that, so I do feel sufficiently set in place. This brush is like so soft. I wish it was like a little bit more precise for under the eye, but I love the color of that. That was the shade Banana. So again, that was the shade Banana on foundation, 290, 310 sort of mixed together, and 260 under the eyes. So far, we're getting there. Okay, so as you guys know, I love a shimmery bronzer, and a while ago she did come out with her Fairy Bomb shimmer bronzers, and this one is the color Copper Chill. Now this one is actually more of a slightly cooler, let me zoom you in, cooler tone shimmer, so I don't want to use too much of this, but I love a shimmery bronzer, so I definitely wanted to try this one out. So I'm just going to use a big brush. This is a MAC 135, and I'm just going to lightly, ooh, okay, it doesn't look as cool tone on the skin as I thought. This is, like I said, Copper Chill. Oh, actually it is a little bit on the cooler tone. I don't want to look like muddy. I'm going to go in with a little bit of a sponge there. Maybe on the cheeks it will look like a bronzer slash contour like in one. Let me just pop this. Yeah, okay, it's almost like a shimmery contour, but it adds a little bit of warmth. But yeah, cool at the same time. Okay, well, if you've been contouring and you feel like the cool tone matte powders are making your skin look a little bit like dusty and dirty, this is kind of like a cool alternative. It's like a cool tone shimmery bronzer. I'm liking it. But you have to be careful that you don't apply too much, because I feel like, or if you have a similar complexion to me or lighter, that like if you went too heavy with that, that would just be a disaster. But on maybe slightly darker skins, I can imagine that looking like really gorgeous. Okay, so for blusher, I'm gonna use another one of the Fairy Bombs. This is Rose on Ice. So this is more of the pinker kind of loose powder. So I'm just gonna take a little bit on a blusher brush. I feel like this is kind of like a slightly, it'll be lighter on the skin than I think. Yeah, it is kind of, so I'm going to be quite sparing with it, but it does obviously have that like pink undertone to it, which is really pretty. Ooh, this just kind of, I feel like this would be a really nice blusher type product to like bring on holiday with you. It like gives you like a real glow, but still has a pink like element to it, and that's a really nice color. Okay. And finally for highlighter, she has a ton of highlighters. There's obviously the infamous Trophy Wife, that's that really gorgeous like yellow gold, but I was gonna go ahead and use her duo, and this is in the Mean Money and Hustler Baby shade. I'm gonna go ahead and take this side, which is the slightly more of the like rose golder side. This is the Hustler Baby shade, and just pop that on my cheekbones, and this is a Morphe M511 brush. Just gonna pop that on the skin. Ooh, I love the formula of her highlighters. Is so like buttery, and you know, I just used those loose shimmers before. She does have like a champagne gold version of that. I just obviously wanted to mix it up and use like a range of her products, but you so could have used that to do the highlighting as well. But I felt that this shade just kind of tied in with the pink on the eyes, because it is slightly more of a rose gold, but still had an element of gold to it, and also like goes with the blusher and stuff like that. Yes, I love, like these go on so effortlessly, and like I said, there's loads of different shades of this. So if this is a little bit too light, there's ones that are a little bit darker, so many different undertones and so many fun colors as well. There's like blues and purples and oranges, like if you like to mix it up with your makeup. Kind of suddenly feel like I've gone a little bit overboard when I look in the viewfinder. But this is the finished skin. Let me zoom you in before I finish the look, just so you can really see what the final skin looks like. So this is the final skin before sort of like setting spray or anything like that. You can see that blend, like the highlighter formula just blends like butter into the skin. It doesn't look like it's just sort of sat there. You're still getting that shimmer of like pink underneath from the blusher. That shimmery contour kind of product, I feel like looks really, really natural. I'm loving the glow that my skin has, but as well as feeling like everything underneath all of that, the foundation, the powder, the concealer, and the matte matchsticks feels really set and locked in place. Like I really don't feel like this is gonna budge at all, and hopefully I keep this glow throughout the day. So I explained my thoughts as I applied them, so you know how I feel about each individual product, but altogether I do feel like they look really, really lovely on my skin as a final result. It doesn't feel too heavy. I don't feel like I'm wearing a lot, even though it might have looked like I applied a lot. It doesn't feel that way. I think that might just be due to the tools that I've used, and like always making sure to like go back in with my sponge and just make sure it all is, you know, blended and just like not sitting on the skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the eyes and pop something on my lips, and then I'll be back to conclude the video. Okay, you guys, so this is the look completed. I finished up on the eyes and popped a nude lip on, which is actually Fenty. I used the Makeup Forever Anywhere Caffeine Lip Pencil and the Unbutton Stunner Lip Paint if you guys are interested. But like I said, I will be posting the details on this look up on my Instagram. If you're not following me there, please do. But this is the finished makeup, so I really hope you guys liked the look of the skin and found my review helpful. If you feel like you have a similar complexion to me or skin type to me, they were just my honest thoughts in terms of the product. So I really hope you guys found that interesting and it's helped you decide whether or not you want to get your hands on them yourselves. Like I said, I have left the link to everything that I've used down below, including the tools as well as the makeup products. The only way in the UK we can get them is from Harvey Nichols, so all the links are from the same place down below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Like I said at the beginning, we are so close to 600k. It would mean the world to me if you've come here as a non-subscriber to subscribe for more videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.